You ever have one of those summers where you think, well, this is how it ends, cooked alive in my own boots? Yeah, that was me, the year the Texas grid failed and the sun decided to pick a fight with humanity. But while folks across the ridge roasted in darkness, my house was glowing like some UFO landed in my yard. Panels sparkling, AC purring, ice cubes rattling in a glass while everyone else sweated through their shirts. That's how it started. That's how I became the most hated man on Hilltop Ridge, and the first person in town to teach an HOA what no actually means. Now, the Texas heat that year was personal. The kind that bakes the world until it smells like scorched pennies and dog hair, warps the fence posts, and makes you question your life choices. But I was ready. 3 Tesla Powerwalls, enough solar to run a hospital, backup diesel in the shed, all wired and permitted, every bolt legal. My fridge ran, my fan spun, and my property line glowed. Like a beacon in the dust. The rest of Hilltop Ridge? Not so much. By noon on the 3rd day, the Facebook group was a digital dumpster fire. Photos of spoiled milk, melting ice cream, complaints about the utility company, and my name popping up like an evil Easter egg. Maybe Ronnie Wells could share some of that extra power, one post said. It's wrong for one man to hoard energy while the rest of us suffer. Someone else wrote. Hoard energy, can you imagine? I built this system, paid every fee, stood in line at county planning. My land, my rules. So when the first knock came, clipboard in hand, pearls shining in the sun, it didn't exactly surprise me. Karen Stanhope, HOA president, and her right-hand man. Let's call him Greg. She had that smile. You know the one, like she'd already won and was just being polite for the cameras. Mr. Wells, she started, we're facing a community emergency. Our board voted unanimously to request you provide temporary shared access to your system. I stared at her. You want to do what? Plug into my house. Karen didn't miss a beat. Our HOA charter allows resource sharing in a crisis. Your panels generate more power than one home needs. It's only fair. I leaned on my fence, grinning. Ma'am, my house isn't in your HOA. Never has been. Your line stops on your side of the street. This is my system. Private property. Her smile turned sharp. Your refusal could be seen as endangering your neighbors. I'll be contacting the Public Utilities Commission. I waved. Knock yourself out. Be sure to mention you're trying to commandeer a private off-grid system. They'll love that. They left, huffing, Greg snapping photos of my fence like he'd uncovered Watergate. I knew this wasn't over. That night, I grilled a steak as a white SUV crept by, phone camera pointed at my panels. I just raised my glass in a toast. Next morning, found an envelope taped to my gate. Official HOA letterhead, gold emblem, legalese, the works. Emergency directive. You are required to provide immediate grid sharing for humanitarian relief purposes. And fines. As if they had jurisdiction. I poured coffee, reread it, shook my head. Bureaucrats like Karen never quit at paper. They escalate. I spent that afternoon double-checking every port, every cable, every backup. My system's smarter than they thought. Lockdown mode, external circuits isolated, motion sensors set. Let them try. That night, temperature hanging at 90, I watched distant lightning. Felt like the air itself was waiting for something ugly to break loose. From my porch, I saw the Hilltop Ridge houses dark and silent, folks glaring at my lit-up kitchen window. Karen's ego and everyone's desperation? Not a great mix. Next morning, the phone rings. Unknown number. I pick up, barely awake, and hear Karen's voice, nasal and bright. Mr. Wells, our board voted again. You're inside our operational boundary, so you're obligated to share. I took a long sip of coffee. Karen, my land was here before your HOA existed. Check the map. She switched tactics, fake sweet. Surely you don't want to alienate your neighbors. We'll send an electrician this afternoon to inspect your connection. I cut her off. You send anyone here. I'll treat it as trespassing. Dramatic sigh. We'll see what the Utilities Commission thinks. Click. By lunch, 2 guys in neon vests showed up. Maintenance team, the older one said. Told to check your auxiliary outlets. I just smiled. Private property. Leave, or I call the sheriff. They left, muttering. That evening, I watched porch cam footage and caught one of the vests. Guys kneeling at my external panel, opening a latch. My sensors kicked on. Lights flared, he bolted. I called the sheriff. Deputies arrived quick, recognized Karen's name right away. "You're not the first she's tried to manage," one said, half laughing. While they wrapped up, Karen herself rolled in, SUV shining, voice ringing out like she was at a ribbon cutting. "Officers, my contractor was simply checking for safety issues." The deputy didn't budge. "Ma'am, that's tampering with private equipment on land you don't own." Karen insisted it was about public safety. I crossed my arms. "No, it's about trespassing and unauthorized access. You broke the law." Deputy warned her, then watched her tail lights fade. That's when I knew. This wasn't about energy. It was about control. I uploaded the footage, printed records, set more cameras. If this was only the start, I'd be ready. For a couple days, it got quiet. No more HOA trucks, no more angry calls. Then, bright and early, a city vehicle appeared. Not Karen, municipal inspector this time. "Fire safety," he said. "Report about an unsafe off-grid system." I almost laughed. "Let me guess, Hilltop. Ridge HOA. He smiled, shrugged. I let him in, nothing to hide. He checked everything, whistled when he was done. This is textbook compliance. I wish more people did it like this. As he left, he suggested, "You might want to file a formal complaint. HOAs like this cause a lot of trouble." So I did, sent every document, every permit, even the footage to the county. A few days later, the fire marshal called to apologize. "You're running a safer setup than most commercial generators." Nice to hear, but I knew Karen wasn't finished. She'd just switched strategies. That evening, a local news station called, asking if I wanted to comment on community concerns about a dangerous private energy facility. The phrase alone made me laugh. Pure Karen. "Everything here's legal, inspected, and insured," I told them. "The only danger is nosy people." The story ran online. Photo of my glowing house in a sea of darkness. Comments exploded. Some folks called me selfish. Others cheered me on. The utility company even posted, "Off-grid systems are private property, not subject to HOA regulation." Bet that ruined Karen's whole week. Next morning, 2 envelopes, one from HOA Legal, one from a random law firm, accused me of hazardous energy storage and endangering the neighborhood. I sent everything to my lawyer. Her reply, "They're overreaching again. Don't respond." By midweek, I started sleeping lighter. The cameras caught someone with a flashlight at the fence line every night. Too tall to be a kid. I just kept the lights on. If Karen wanted a war of attrition, she'd pick the wrong guy. Then, past midnight, the Powerwall app buzzed. Anomalous current draw. External load detected. I checked the logs. Somebody was pulling 3 kilowatts from my garden outlet. I followed the cable to a patch of fresh mulch near the fence. There it was, a thick black cord buried and spliced, running under the fence straight to the neighbor's yard. Instead of cutting the cable, I fired up a diagnostic, slow load ramp, then a simulated fault. Within minutes, the system tripped a surge. On the camera feed, a flash of orange at the neighbor's meter, frantic shouts, then darkness. I called the sheriff. Someone tapped my system, blew their own circuit. Deputies and fire truck arrived. The cable was dug up. Smoke still curling from the neighbor's outlet. The video had timestamps, current logs, everything. "Did you know they do this?" a deputy asked. "Not for sure," I said, but I had a hunch. Karen showed up in a robe, yelling, "He sabotaged us. We just wanted to cool our children." The deputy held up the footage. "Ma'am, we have evidence of criminal tampering." She tried the mutual aid defense. Didn't work. The neighbor whose house smoked said it was Karen's idea. The fire crew confirmed it could have been a real blaze. By dawn, everyone was gone, road quiet, but for the hum of my inverter. That's when I realized this had gone from petty harassment to actual crime. Within 48 hours, the footage leaked online. The video went viral. Night vision, buried cable. Karen shouting at deputies. Suddenly, I was the solar sheriff of Hilltop Ridge. News vans parked on my street. Marriage proposals. I tried to ignore it, but when the anchor called it an energy hoarding scandal, I called Amanda, my lawyer. She reviewed every file, every letter, every video. Her verdict, "They're screwed. We'll file for defamation, property interference, and unlawful tampering. Restraining Order 2. We went public. Simple statement from my porch. My home is private property, inspected and safe. Recent incidents are under investigation." Comments flipped. Anonymous HOA members leaked internal emails, plans for alternate access, and neutralizing non-compliant residents. Days later, the sheriff called. DA's looking into charges, tampering, conspiracy, even fraud. Karen's been forging paperwork. By now, HOA's Facebook page was gone. Karen was on TV, accusing me of endangering the community. Amanda fired off a cease and desist. Then came the surprise. One morning, a tired-looking man, Blake, HOA board member, knocked at my gate. "You don't know me, but you need to see this." He handed me a thumb drive, emails, meeting minutes, fake signatures, including mine, on fraudulent energy access agreements. She tried to submit them to the Utility Commission. I gave it all to Amanda. The sheriff's office raided the HOA. News vans swarmed as deputies hauled off file boxes and laptops. The DA confirmed everything: fraud, tampered requests, email trail leading right to Karen's computer. 3 board members resigned. Neighbors brought cookies, apologized. She threatened to fine us if we didn't sign. One whispered. Karen doubled down, claimed on TV the emails were fabricated by enemies of community order. Reporters smirked, then read the sheriff's confirmation. 2 days later, cops showed up at Karen's house with a warrant. My cameras caught the scene. Unmarked cars, detectives, Karen arms crossed, still arguing as they read her rights. The neighbors filmed everything. Amanda called that night. She's charged with conspiracy, forgery, and tampering. The DA's building a case. I poured a drink, watched the sunset. Finally, I wasn't angry, just tired. This wasn't just one person. It was a system that let people like Karen think HOA charters were law. The trial was like a bad soap opera. Karen tried to keep her composure, but the DA laid it all out. Fake docs, trespassing, tampering. Amanda presented every video, inspection, restraining order. Even the state's energy expert testified. The kind of tampering Karen's crew did could have caused fires, electrocution, grid failure. In court, board members admitted Karen threatened them. She cracked when Amanda showed the forged agreement with my signature, metadata tied to her laptop. The verdict? Guilty, unlawful interference, harassment, defamation. Karen convicted of fraud, forgery, conspiracy. The HOA dissolved. By court order. Karen barred from holding office for life. I didn't gloat, just sat there, letting relief wash over. Amanda whispered, "That's as perfect as justice gets." Reporters swarmed me. All I ever wanted was to be left alone. Maybe now people remember what private property means. Headlines screamed, HOA president convicted after power theft scandal. People called me a hero. I just fixed my fence. By autumn, Hilltop Ridge was a ghost. No Karen, no HOA. The sign at the entrance tilting in the wind. My place looked better than ever. New solar inverters, bigger batteries. Warning sign carved in stone. Then, out of nowhere, a clean energy startup offered me a contract, pilot site for their microgrid tech. First check, $100,000. Sometimes karma runs on direct current. A few months later, a storm hit. The grid went down, again. I sat on my porch, coffee steaming, my lights the only ones glowing through the rain. I watched silhouettes at the end of the road. Maybe neighbors realizing at last, independence isn't selfishness, it's survival. The same sun that fueled their envy now powered my peace. And as thunder rolled across the ridge, I let myself smile. Let them come again. This time, I'd see them coming a mile away. So, let me ask you, where's the line between community and control? When does help your neighbor become hand over your life? Drop your thoughts below. Share your own stories about standing up to bullies, HOA or otherwise. Let's talk about